Dia Eva Cascade Meal Falcha. Welcome to the New Order of Duets podcast. I'd like to wish you all a very happy Imbolc. Breed's Day is one of the 4 great festivals that are gateways into the seasons of the turning year. In early Ireland, her festival was known as Imbolc or Imbolc, a name that probably refers to the first milk of the year as it was birthed their lambs, heralding the return of new life. In later centuries, it came to be known as Bridget's Feast Day, but in the Christian calendar, the festival was replaced by Candlemas Day on February 2nd, dedicated to the Virgin Mary, and featuring the candlelight processions. A powerful female figure of light hovers over both celebrations, and indeed, Bridget was often called Mary of the Gales. Interestingly, when talking about the Festival of Breed, you can only find it in Ireland, Scotland, and Manx. It is not mentioned in Wales or Cornwall. In Wales, however, there was once a celebration called Mary's Festival of Candles, when a candle was lit in every farmhouse window. Now, I went looking for the names of these festivals in Gaelic, and here's what I found. Starting with Irish Gaelic, there's Old Irish and Modern Irish. In Old Irish, it's called Imbolc or Omolc. In Modern Irish, it's called La Aile Brige. In Scottish Gaelic, it's La Aile Brige. There's just a tiny bit of a difference between Modern Irish and Scottish Irish in this name. In Manx, it's Lal Brise. So who exactly is Bridget? You'd think it's an easy question to answer, but it's not. You see, Bridget's origins have been lost in time, and in later years it became very hard to distinguish between the Saint Bridget and the Goddess Bridget. There are many names that you can call her. Bridget, Breed, Vraid, even Brisa in the Isle of Man. However, it is thought that the name might have been actually a title. Some scholars believe that it originated with the Sanskrit root birhati, which means high or exalted one, giving us words such as brig of a ship today. A 10th century glossary called Cormac's Glossary describes the goddess Bridget as one of the Tuatha De Danann, the daughter of the Dagda, yet also she was known as the mother of the 3 gods of Danu, which perhaps reflects an earlier matrifocal or woman-centered tradition. The writer, a Christian monk of Cashel, calls her a woman of wisdom, a goddess whom poets adored because her protection was very great and very famous. Since discipline of poetry, philedecht, was interwoven with seership, Bridget was seen as the great inspiration behind divination and prophecy, the source of oracles. Cormac goes on to say that she had 2 sisters, Bridget the physician and Bridget the smith, but it is generally thought that all 3 were aspects of a triple goddess of poetry, healing, and smithcraft, all magical arts of transformation. Elsewhere, Bridget is described as the patroness of other vital crafts of early Celtic society, like dyeing, weaving, brewing, and she was a goddess of farm animals, especially cows. Bridget is deeply associated with the country of Ireland, where to this day, some Irish rivers bear her name. She had 2 oxen called Fa and Favan, who gave their names to a plain in County Carlow and one in Tipperary. She was also the guardian of Torc Tria, king of the wild boar, whose name was given to Tria Hern, a plain in West Tipperary. These 3 totem animals used to raise a warning cry if Ireland was in danger. In the mythic history of the Tuatha De Danann, she was both the daughter of the Dagda and wife of his enemy, the Fomorian king Breis. Celtic scholar Miranda Green sees her as an ancestor deity, a mother goddess whose main concern was the future well-being of Ireland. But perhaps the simplest illustration of her guardianship of the land comes from the folk tradition, which tells how Bridget spread her green mantle over all of her beloved country and made it the Green Emerald Isles. Groundhog Day, which celebrated on February 2nd, has its origins in the ancient festival of Bridget. If it's a fine morning and the groundhog sees his shadow, it means there will be 6 more weeks of winter. The custom comes directly from Europe, and Scotland in particular, where an old couplet warns, "If Candlemas Day is bright and clear, there'll be 2 winters in the year." A Scottish verse about the feast day of Bridget begins, "This is the day of Breed, the Queen will come from the mound." Irish scholar Seamus O'Cahan believes that this rhyme has its roots in northern traditions concerning the reappearance of the hibernating bear. For this is the time when the animal world begins to stir from its winter sleep in the depths of the earth, and life and light is ushered in by Bridget, the Queen. Here are some simple ways to celebrate Bridget's Day. As it is traditionally a time for purification, clean your house. If you have any Christmas greenery lingering, burn it now. If dandelions grow wild in your area, gather the leaves and wash them thoroughly and eat them in your salad. These plants, whose golden faces remind us of the sun's return, are sacred to Bridget. Measure a colored ribbon, then put it out on your doorstep or on a bush in the yard, for Bridget to bless as she comes by tonight. In the morning, pull it tight and measure it again to see if it has grown. You now have Bridget's mantle, which can be used for healing. In the evening, fill your house with lighted candles, especially white and green ones. If there are small children or animals in the house that you are concerned about, float special water candles in bowls, pans, or your bathtub. These are just a few of the ways that you could celebrate Imbolc. I'd like to end this podcast with an invocation to Bridget by Mara Freeman. We welcome you, Bridget, on Candlemas Eve. We pray for your blessing, new life to receive. O Mother of Poetry, teach us your art, that your inspiration may enter each heart. O Mistress of Magic, that stands by the fire and shapes the bright metal to the form of your desire. O Mother of Smithcraft, please teach us your art, that the power of changing may enter each heart. You kindle the springtime to quicken the earth, from under your mantle the old has new birth. O Mother of Healing, please teach us your art, that peace and contentment may enter each heart. Well, we've come to the end of our podcast, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. You'll find all the notes and acknowledgements for this podcast on the podcast page. And remember, if you have any questions, comments, or even suggestions, please don't hesitate to email us. You'll find our email also on the podcast page. So from me, your host, Maya, and the New Order of Druids, Slanga Foy.